I was recently in Walmart and I noticed at the end of an aisle there was a display of some new N.Y.C. or New York Color products. This is a line that's been really hit and miss for me over the years. Some things I try and I love and they're must-haves, and then there are some things that I get really disappointed with. So I thought, hey, I'm gonna give these a try, see what I think, and let everybody know. There will also be a tutorial on this eye look. It is using several of these new eye products as well. I'm gonna start off with the lips though, and the Appalicious Glossy Lip Balm. I gotta say I was drawn to these for the cuteness of the little apple inside the lipstick there. I don't know if you can see that. They had a nice array of some like pink and berry colors, so I picked up a couple. One is in the shade Apple Blossom, and so this is kind of like a magenta looking lipstick with a light pink apple in the middle, so you're getting sort of the combination of those two colors, and that's the swatch of that shade. The other one is called Apple Plum Pie, and it's this shade right down here. The Apple Blossom, really not that big of a fan of it. It didn't give off that much color. I mean, these are hydrating, they feel nice on the lips, but I mean, I didn't feel like the color was that unique, and it didn't really show up that much. But this one, the Apple Plum Pie, I think is so beautiful, and it's kind of like a sheer take on that really deep kind of plummy berry lip color you're seeing out there a lot. I think it's beautiful, but I think a lot of people might be a little hesitant to try to pull that one off in like a full color opaque lipstick. So this is a little bit more sheer, but it gives you, you know, that beautiful kind of plum berry color. I love it. Had it not like kind of clashed with the shirt I'm wearing, I would have worn that today. These smell really fruity. I'm not sure if they're supposed to smell like apples. I'm not sure that I sense a real apple-y smell there, but they do smell nice. I probably won't run out and get a whole lot more because I'm just sold on this color. They kind of remind me of the vibe of the Lip Butters and the Color Whispers and things like that. Judging by this one, the lighter shades are going to be more sheer, less visible on the lips, and the deeper shades are just going to show up a little bit better. I really do like this color though, this Apple Plum Pie. I'm very pleased with that. Now, as far as the eye products, you may remember some little palettes that N.Y.C. put out over the past couple of years, and they've got, I think, maybe 4 powder eyeshadows, like a cream base and a cream shimmer. I totally disliked those. I thought they had zero color payoff. The little cream parts like dried up and literally fell out of the container like in a whole chunk. Like, okay, there's a little shimmer thing, it's falling out again. Like, I'm not a big fan of those. These have that same kind of like quilted texture on them, and so I kind of feared that maybe they'd be the same thing, and then I thought surely not. Surely they would improve them. As a whole, I feel like these are not near as flaky as those seem to be, but they're not terribly pigmented. You're going to get a shimmery look, a relatively sheer look. You're going to see that when you see this tutorial. You know, I actually like the finished eye look that I came out with here, but it is 2 things. It is sheer and it is shimmery, and actually it's 3 things. It really requires a base of some sort. You must use an eyeshadow primer. I always use eyeshadow primer, but I mean, this is one of those shadows that I think really requires it, and preferably some sort of color base will bring the colors out on these a little bit more. Are these as good as Wet n Wild? Absolutely not. As good as NYX? No. As good as CoverGirl? No. So this trio is called Late Night Latte, and it's got a cream, a lavender, and a light brown. And here are those shades swatched. You can see the cream, the lavender. Real disappointing. I wanted that to look just like it did in the pan, but it didn't really. The brown is not so bad. The brown is just kind of like a shimmery brown. Again, nothing matte. If you demand matte shadows, they are not at least in these trios I got. And then this other trio I have is Central Park Plums. So a pink, a taupe, and kind of a deep burgundy color. As you can see, the pink extremely sheer. The taupe doesn't show up a whole lot. The burgundy, I mean, I would expect more from the color I see there in the pan to the color on the swatch. It's not so hot. The other thing I picked up was this Sparkle Eye Dust, and so it's in a little thing like this. It's a wand applicator. I wasn't going to get one of these, but I noticed this particular shade. It's called Smoky Topaz, and I am a sucker for these kind of taupe purple colors. I think they're so beautiful, and so I thought, you know, if this turns out to be a good thing, that's a color I would wear a lot. One thing you've got to be really careful of, this is essentially loose powder in a wand applicator, and even as you open it up, like there's little bits that are gonna fly off, like they flew onto my pants earlier. You know, it's not pleasant. There's a couple little bits. It's just so lightweight, it's hard to manage. Put a swatch down. You initially put it on here and it's going to be a little bit flaky, but once you blend it in, I mean, this color is beautiful. What you're going to see in this tutorial that I'm going to show you now is I took this trio, and since this little lavender shade wasn't really doing it for me, I kind of replaced it with this. And I used bases to make that work, and so here's the look. Alright, first off, a little eye primer, using my Put a Lid On It eye primer from the Balm. And just gonna put a little bit of that all over the lid, up through the crease, and up to the brow bone. Next, I'm using a base for this loose powdery shadow. It really needs a base. So this is the Maybelline Color Tattoo in Barely Beige. I'm just gonna get a little bit of that on my finger and apply that all over the lid. This is the Sparkle Eye Dust in Smoky Topaz. I'm just gonna dab a little bit of this on the lid there. Not really trying to blend it in because I think that would be a fallout nightmare. So I'm just dabbing some on, and then I'm going to take a little flat brush and use that to kind of pat it in on top of the color tattoo. And now you can see how gorgeous that color is. I love it. And inevitably that was a little hard to manage and I got some fallout there, so I'm taking a fan brush really lightly and it sweeps it away, no problem. Next, I'm going to this Color HD Trio. This is in Late Night Latte. I'm going to take the brown and use that in the crease. And just going back and forth in my natural crease area. Then I'm going to use a fluffy brush with this pearly white. Apply that as my highlight. And I want to work in a little bit deeper shades, so I'm going to my other trio in Central Park Plums, and I'm going to be using this burgundy right down here. I'm using that shade on a small flat brush, and I want to kind of create a little bit of an outer V with my shadow here. When you're working with a flat brush, it's really about just placing the shadow where you want it. So I'm kind of angling upward a little bit towards like the tip of my brow there, and making sure I get some on the lid so that shadow looks like it's kind of originating from somewhere, if you know what I mean. Sometimes I see outer V's appear out of nowhere, and it's like you need to use the crease, and that's where naturally, you know, some darkness would be, and then build out from there. And I'm going to blend that out a little bit, and our liner is going to fall right in line with the way that shadow's been done. Using my Melanie Ultra Fine Liquid Liner in, I believe the shade is Black Vinyl. And then I'm gonna wing it upward, kind of falling in line with how I did the shadow there. I've done these looks sometimes where it's like I do the wing first and I make the shadow fall in line with that. Here I did the shadow first and the wing is kind of matching up. Then I'm lining the waterline with Maybelline Master Drama and Midnight Master. And I'm gonna do a little bit on the skin as well, kind of connecting to the wing. What makes this look really pretty is smudging some of this burgundy down under the eye and going over the black. I'm gonna switch back to the palette with the brown. That's this one. And just take a little bit of that kind of medium brown and take that under the inner part. Then I'm going to curl my lashes, apply some of the CoverGirl Clump Crusher Mascara on my upper lashes, Maybelline Lash Discovery on my lower lashes, and today I'm using the Kiss 03 False Lashes. So I'll get that done and I'll be right back. So to sum it all up, the Applicious Glossy Balm, it's not necessarily a more fantastic texture than the Lip Butters or than the Color Whispers or anything like that, but I do feel like this color in the Apple Plum Pie was outstanding. I really, really like that. As far as the eyeshadows, these HD Color Trio eyeshadows, not a vast improvement over what they were selling in those little, you know, palettes. They're sized and packaged like Wet n Wild, but they are not near that kind of quality. quality. While I like the look I got, I mean, it's sheer, and this is with the help of bases, eyeshadow primers. This little loose thing here, I mean, it's a gorgeous color. I guess all I'll say there is buy at your own risk, because chances are you're going to take the little wand out, it's going to flake on your pants. I would put a napkin down like you're going to dinner on your lap so that does not happen. But if you put it on top of like a creamy base, I think it's really, really pretty. Paired with brown, I mean, I do like the finished look. Had I not done false lashes and winged liner, this would be a very natural looking eye, I think. Now, if you're a young girl or a beginner and you're starting out with makeup and you're intimidated by the dark colors and you just want some sheer products to work with that, you know, aren't going to get you too far off track, you know, they aren't going to show up too deep on the lids, these may be something to play with. But if you're accustomed to very rich pigmented shadows and you like some mattes thrown in and you like, you know, that real creamy buttery eyeshadow texture, this is not maybe something you're going to be impressed by. They can work. I would advise anybody using these to use an eye primer or some sort of colored base product so they have something to cling to, and that does help bring out the shadow a little bit more. So hope this was helpful for you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.